Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Bracer X Exhaust Podcast brought to you by Yoshimura. I am Jason Weigandt. Yoshimura will provide you with all the exhaust things that you need for your exhaust. If you need an exhaust, they've got it. Just go to yoshimura-rd.com, whether it's trail bikes and pit bikes to street bikes, of course, motocross bikes, off-road race bikes, ATVs. I think they've got side-by-side stuff. You know that their street bike line is awesome. They've been backing the ever-potent Yoshimura Suzuki factory racing team for a long, long time. Yoshimura's got it, and their exhaust systems are made in the USA. You probably didn't expect that, but it's true. And that's all at yoshimura-rd.com. And then they've got the new cycling line they're developing, so go to yoshimuracycling.com to check that out. That's that Chaleo pedal, also made in the USA. And as I mentioned at the end of our previous podcast, they do have cycling kits. I might get myself a jersey. That could be cool. I've been riding mountain bikes in T-shirts for years because, I mean, hey, it gets the job done, right? You know how I am. MX Tech Suspension manufactures professional aftermarket suspension for riders who want excellent comfort and control. Their quality engineering is based on a lifetime of specializing in dirt bike suspension, and that has led them to develop the Lucky Fork, dual springs, dual cartridges, and huck valves, yet ultra lightweight. MX Tech utilizes the latest in technology and coatings to deliver maximum performance while also remaining the lightest suspension available. So head over to mx-tech.com for more information. And finally, Psychic MX is a full-range motocross brand from engine internals to your everyday wear and tear parts. From your weekend warriors to your full-on race guys, they have everything you need. So check them out at psychicmx.com or visit your local dealer today. Those are our sponsors. I'm Jason Weigandt. Today's podcast is actually from last night, Monday night. Held a press conference at Salt Lake City. A couple of riders who had great rides, although they still were lapped on Sunday night. That's Zach Osborne, who finished 4th, and Malcolm Stewart, who finished 5th. Also, we talked to the Suzuki guys, Broc Tickle, returning from injury. Also, Kyle Cunningham, who actually was injured during the break. He's been back at all these Salt Lake City races. He's ridden pretty well. So we talked to them. And also Marty Davalos, who's been rock solid. I mean, rock solid in these events, despite tricky conditions, too. Marty is taming the 450. So 5 riders, Daniel Blair, myself, and others in the media asking questions. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this 450 media scrum from Salt Lake City following round 13 of the 2020 championship. I'm Daniel Blair, joined by some of the riders who are competing here in Salt Lake City that have been chosen to be a part of this scrum, guys that we wanted to talk to and have a little fun with today. So thank you guys for tuning in. We got Kyle Cunningham, Malcolm Stewart, Zach Osborne. We got, Broc Tickle, who is on his way in. Martin Davalos is with us now. Tickle should be with us momentarily, so we'll get to him when he gets here. Huge shout out again to the media for being a part of this. Thank you guys for being here, and let's have some fun. I want to start with Zach Osborne. Zach, get on social media today. There's a Zach Osborne post on Instagram talking about some of the fundamentals of his riding and his technique. And Zach, I got to be honest, we got to work on some things. We got to make some changes to the way you corner your dirt bike.
Why?
You sit too far back, man.
Who said?
Way too far back. I've been teaching my son since day one. You got to be up on the tank. But there's Zach Osborne. Bad example, sitting mid-seat. What's going on, Zach?
No, I wish I could sit up on the tank. I watch other people and I'm like, man, that looks cool. And then I try to do it and it's like just as awkward as somebody else was sitting in where I sit. But like I said on my Instagram, I had a TTR 125 when I was like 12, and they have like a banana seat, and it's way back in the center of the bike. And I rode the thing a ton in the afternoons after school, and developed a really bad habit that stuck forever.
Seems to work. You've had some decent success, so I think we're all right.
It goes okay, yeah.
Malcolm, how's it going, man? Since we've been here, dude, you've been riding hard, but you have just had this little things. I mean, the first corner on the one, maybe twice. The riding's been awesome, but God, just a lot of little things have been holding you back. But overall, you happy so far with the trip?
Yeah, I've been really happy about how everything's going. Of course, first round, I mean, I literally felt like we've done these 3 races, and I felt like we've been in different states just because the dirt's changed so much, it's tremendous. And, it's cool. I think it's really just for us. I was so nervous first race, it kind of felt like Anaheim won for me again, having everybody back, all healthy, and then, for us. So it's cool. We're just getting the ball rolling. Got my first top 5 last weekend. Or I guess I was yesterday. It feels like we've been racing so much right now. I'm getting so lost in the days. So, but that was good. And, for us, we're just going to keep the ball rolling, and it should be good, and really looking forward to Wednesday.
How about that heat race win?
That heat race win was good. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. I finally got all the shoulder, like literally all the way off my shoulders, just because, I knew I was due for one. It's just a matter of time, and, right? It's all about timing. I mean, again, and winning heat race wins it's literally feels like a little triple crown for us, you know what I mean? Because there's so many guys that can go out there and go wide open for 6 minutes. So just to get one of those is the next stepping stone for, moving forward for jumping on that podium.
Kyle Cunningham, thanks for joining us. I'll throw this out there. Are you cool with Benny Bloss right now? Is it all good?
It is what it is. I mean, I think he took himself out of his own race. I'm not sure on the pass. I already had crashed, I think, twice, so I was a lap down anyways. He took himself out of his own race. I'm not sure, if I were opposite worlds, I wouldn't have put myself in that position. I would have been a little more patient, but the track was tough and the racing's difficult, so things happen, and it's kind of how it goes.
So one of those things where it's already tough enough out there, but then you got to pick the bike up on the front side of the berm, and it's like, I'm already having a tough go out here, man. I didn't need this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Surprisingly, like the last few races, I felt good on the bike. I had 2 days of Supercross before I came, and honestly, I think like we talked last time, if the racing wouldn't have been delayed, I would have missed all the rounds left. I was off the bike for 9 weeks, and the first 2 went pretty good. My starts have been good, and man, I didn't do any starts before we even came here, so that was a positive. But last night was just, I felt like the riding was good, but just laid on the ground a lot. The first lap, the third lap, I think midway, and then when Benny cleaned me out, it was 4 crashes total. And not saying much, but we still ran like 15th fastest lap time, just in the mud. That's how it goes, and just had to keep my head down and make sure I finished. That was the most important thing.
For sure. Martin Davalos, how we doing?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was doing good, man. I'm really enjoying Park City. It reminds me a little bit of home with the mountains in Ecuador. It's tough for me to get back there and enjoy this kind of views and all that. But I'm just really having a good time. I didn't know that we were gonna finish the season. I was I'm Supercross only, so I started riding a little bit of outdoors just to have some fun. And Daytona, I got in the sand section. Tyler kind of stopped and Dino landed on me, so I fractured my tailbone in Daytona, so I had to take about a month off. And then, like I said, I rode outdoors for a little bit and then got on the Supercross track a week before coming to Salt Lake City. So I'm just really enjoying, how everything's going. Still trying to learn, the bike. I know I'm pretty experienced when it comes to racing because I've been doing this for a long time. I'm 33 right now, but this motorcycle really is a different thing. Something that it's taken me a little bit to get used to it, but I feel like things are coming along. My starts need to get better. I feel like I'm really inconsistent, but at the end of the day, I'm racing with such a gnarly dude. So amazing to be, on the gate with them, and I have a lot of respect for everybody, and I'm just enjoying this time.
Marty, I was in Parks. Pretty hot. It's a hot day. And from what I understand, you wake up this morning and it's like a winter wonderland up there. Is it still snowing or is it calmed down yet?
it's incredible what I've seen so far here. I mean, we got to Park City. It was super hot. I brought my mountain bike and I told myself, I'm going to go, sightseeing, trail riding, everything. It was hot. I had to put sunblock. I was like sweating so much. Then we got into some rain. Yesterday after the race, came up here. I seen a little bit of snow on the air, and woke up this morning and all the roofs were completely white. It's crazy. I mean, it's still, some of the roofs are white. It stopped snowing, and now I look outside the window and it's snowing a little bit again. So I don't know what Wednesday is gonna bring. I mean, we've had dry dirt, muddy dirt, some moisture dirt. I mean, is it gonna snow Wednesday? I mean, never know.
Good. Think about this. We get the wristband at each race, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but the wristband from Sunday said Seattle on it. It was our Seattle wristband. I find it kind of funny. Pours down rain when we wear the Seattle wristband. And now we got Denver one on. You guys, you get your orange one. It's Denver. And if I remember correctly, it snowed in Denver last time we were there. So it could happen. I'm going to open up now to the media. We'll start with Jason Weigandt. And, guys, let's just have some fun.
Yeah, my first question is for you, Marty. You were so solid in even some tough conditions. The first race was super slippery. Obviously, it was somewhat muddy, the last one. And at the beginning of the year, I know you were saying you're having a tough time just controlling that 450. Do you feel like you've taken a step? Because in two of the most challenging races, you were actually one of the most solid guys out there.
I feel like things have gotten a lot better for me. The first round, we modified the bike a little bit. I knew it was going to be kind of hard packed here. The second race, I was super pumped because the whoops were big, but I shortened the bike up a little bit too much, and I struggled, the whole main event with traction, and I think I was oversteering. And yesterday I told myself, I haven't ridden that Supercross race that gnarly. I don't think my whole career, and especially in the 450. And I knew it was going to be all about staying consistent and staying up. I mean, I knew that I was going to make mistakes. I knew that some people were going to make mistakes, but it was going to be like, how can I avoid, falling down and trying to be consistent? And I think I put myself in a good position. I was calm and collected. And to be honest with you, for me, it was more mentally tough. There's so much going on at the race. I mean, I was getting lapped by Eli and Cooper. I was lapping a lot of people. I didn't know if I was lapping so many people, and you're just trying to, I felt like there was one or two lines that were decent around the whole track. And when you were trying to pass a lapper or you were trying to get out of the way, you needed to be extra careful, and it was so easy to lose 3 seconds, but it was so hard to make up a second, on somebody. So I think that, mentally I just proved myself to be patient out there, and, I was able to finish it decently strong.
Alex Gobert.
Yeah, this one's for Zach and also Malcolm. Top 5 on Sunday, but a lap down. So pretty surprising, to be a lap down, but also to be able to get such a good result inside the top 5.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre. I mean, I knew that they were coming with like 3 or 4 laps to go, and I was into some heavy traffic, and it seemed like, on the laps I could skim the whoops. It wasn't that different as far as the lap time went, but there were like maybe 10 laps in the end where there were 4 or 5 guys in front of me going into the whoops every lap, and I was just rolling. So, what do you do? It was I knew that I wasn't going to catch Jason, and I kind of had a comfortable gap to Malcolm, so I just kind of cruised it home for a solid top 5, and that was kind of all I could do, really.
Yeah, I mean, Zach said the same thing. I mean, there was carnage everywhere out there. I mean, I was literally coming around every corner. It was a yellow flag waving. So, it's like one of those things. Is a mud race, and you just literally just trying to just get through it. I mean, the hardest part about a mud race is literally staying up. I mean, and I saw Zach for a little bit, and I'm like trying to make a good charge, and next thing you know, I look up again, and he's like 2 sections ahead of me, and I'm like, what happened? And it's so easy just to make those simple mistakes as riders, and just same thing what Marty said. It's like you're trying to get, like, riders are trying to get out of your way or whatever, but again, it's like, there's only like 2 or 3 good lines on the track, and it's something that everybody has to go through, and it's not like it's not like you're gonna get pissed off or bummer about it. It's really all I was trying to do is get off the race. Right, man. So when Eli and Cooper, they were on. I mean, seriously, they were in a different zip code than all of us around this racetrack because those guys are moving. But for me, I felt like a little turtle. I ain't gonna lie. So again, it was a fun race, and I'm hoping that we will never have another mud race in Salt Lake City again.
I agree. Dan Lamb.
Yeah, Marty. First of all, I want to know: are you going outdoors this year at all?
No, unfortunately, I my contract is just Supercross only. I know I've had a really good, rookie year on the 450. That I think it was when I was with the Husky guys, and that year I really thought, with having the 2 podiums outdoors, I thought that was going to be my door, to maybe get on this class, but it didn't happen. And this year I just kind of told myself, let's just focus on outdoors. To be honest with you, I was happy just to be able to get a ride. I mean, it was such a stressful time trying to see where I could land and having to give myself an opportunity on a decent bike. And I just blessed enough to have landed on this team. They've, took me in as family, because it's a family owned team, and they're really down to earth people. And, I couldn't ask for a better position. They're really working with me. I feel like we've really improved throughout the year. For me, learning the bike and learning how to ride this 450. And I knew I could go fast. I just didn't want to be, getting too excited and crashing a lot, which I did at the beginning of the year just because I was overriding the bike. But I feel like I'm settled now a little more. I feel like I kind of learned how to control the power, and to be honest with you, it's kind of helping also here in the altitude. The bike's a little slower, so it's just a little easier to control it.
You've had a decent year. You've had a top 5 this year in the 450. Have you heard any whispers or anything about maybe next year? Are you going to come back with Tedder next year, or is that completely still wide open?
Yeah, that's still complete wide open, to be honest with you. I know a lot of the people are focusing on outdoors, and I mean, until last week, they didn't even know if outdoors was happening. Now I hear some rumors that it's happening, and I really haven't looked into it so much because I wasn't planning on doing it, but I'm just hoping I could get something, man. There's so many good riders. There's so many champions. I mean, a lot of teams are up. A lot of riders are up under contract. I know everybody's going to be searching, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to focus on this year, trying to do my best, and whatever happens. I'm a little bit. I'm pretty pumped how everything is going right now. I feel like my body is allowing me to work at how I wanted to work. I feel like I still have some years in me, and that's as far as I can do. I'll keep racing if that's the case.
Nice. And for Zach, you're 5-3-4, I think, so far since we've come to Salt Lake. You led 20 laps a couple days ago. Led a lap last night. What's it going to take to close that gap on those top 2 and maybe hold on for the last 7 laps next time?
Well, you got to walk before you can run, right? So I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. And, at the beginning of the season, I would have begged for a 5-3-4 run. So I have to kind of keep it in perspective. Yeah, I let one get away from me the other night after leading for a long, long time and kind of squandered it. But I think that there's still 4 more chances here in Salt Lake. I'm really comfortable with where I'm at as far as my fitness and as well as my bike right now. And I mean, my starts are good. All the pieces are there. It's just, continuing to build some momentum and riding the way I have. I think it'll happen before we leave here. That's my goal.
Hey, Jason Weigandt here. Zach Osborne's goal is to get better results and win races. My goal is to sell subscriptions to RacerX, keep the lights on, support our journalistic endeavors, and you can do it by going to racerxonline.com/Weege. That's WEEGE. So if you're going to subscribe, use that link because then I get credit, and people like Daniel Blair and Steve Mathis, who also have podcasts, who also work for us, will not get the credit. That is key. It's all about competition here, be it Zach Osborne or myself. So go to racerxonline.com/Weege. Everything in the magazine is exclusive to the magazine, and we have it in a digital edition that can be read right on our website. It looks just like our website, but you have to pay to access it. And or you can get the traditional print magazine as well. Every single page. You can read it either way, print or digital. racerxonline.com/Weege, Weege, and it's cheap, starting at 99 cents for 3 months digital access. Now, Ralph Shaheen going to ask a question. Let's go.
Ralph Shaheen.
Hey, Daniel. Thanks, buddy. Malcolm, question for you. You got your first career 450 heat win the other day, and I think Sunday you had your career best 450 finish, if I'm not mistaken. What's been the key to this sudden big burst of speed and putting this together? And then what's the one thing keeping you away from getting that first main event win?
Honestly, I think it's just excited to be back racing. Ever since our last race was Daytona until, I guess I would say less than a month ago, we weren't sure we were going to race. And I think it's just excitement. It kind of feels like Anaheim won again for me. And I did a little bit more testing. You're just going through the motions. And then I think, for me, when this thing stopped, I just kind of took a break for a second and kind of took a step back and was just like, you know what, I need to just kind of regroup a little bit. And really just me and my trainer, Garrett Swanepoel, we kind of just narrowed down to what we were lacking on. And I think I've been, so far, I've been just proving and just hitting all my marks, really. Just, it's really just about the racing. I mean, the hardest thing for me was to stay off the ground the first 2 laps, the first 2 races. So, of course, a mud race is, you can have a really good day or a really bad day. It was a good thing for me that I had a good day. So really just looking forward to Wednesday and just keeping the ball rolling. That heat race win, I think, really brought a lot of confidence in me because I knew I've always had it in me. It's just a matter of time and place. And I put myself in the right position, and I feel like it's the exact same thing as winning a main event win. And the good news about the 450 Premier classes, every single one of us is a champion. We know how to win, so the feeling and the adrenaline, it's all there. So we know what we need to do. It's just a matter of timing.
Steve Giberson, I'm going to come to you next, but first I want to welcome Broc Tickle to the conversation. Broc, first off, how's the hand? I mean, we know what happened in that first Sunday race. I know how difficult it was to get back out there. But how you feeling today now that you've been back on the track and had a day to kind of test it out?
Yeah, I was just glad to be back racing, to be honest. Obviously, the first race I didn't get to race back here in Salt Lake. Sat out a week and came back last night or yesterday. It's been tough, to be honest, but I want to finish out these last 4 and make progress. I would say my hand is probably it's probably not going to feel great even by the end of it, but I'm going to manage it the best way I can, get as much therapy as I can. It's healing. But yeah, it's tough to accept that's what I'm dealt with, but we got to make the best of it. And if I can make progress and by the end of this be close to where I want to be, I'll be happy. That way we came here for a reason.
Thank you. Steve Giberson.
I'll leave it open for whoever wants to answer, but to be honest, I've actually been surprised how different the tracks have been given the amount of time that they have between races and what Dirtworks has been able to do. What are you guys thinking on the track so far? I mean, we've had quite a variety of conditions and everything else.
Zach, we'll start with you.
To me, the first one was mellow, obviously, and I think that was a really good call on everyone's part just to get everyone started back in the right direction. I know there were, some complaints online and stuff about how mellow it was, but I think that was a great call. And also with as tricky as the dirt was on that Sunday night, it was techie anyways, even though the layout was quite basic, but I think that they're doing a great job with these quick turnarounds and the overall build and how things are put together. And I think it's been really cool that we've had 3 completely different surfaces to race on. And I think tomorrow's going to be a 4th, or Wednesday is going to be a 4th. I think that they're going to have some mushy stuff to work with today and tomorrow to get a new track built, and I'm kind of interested to see how much they can actually really, really change with the weather that we've had, because it's still been raining, most of the day today. So it's going to be crazy, and I think it's really cool that I wasn't sure that they could really turn it around completely in 2 days as far as the layout went, but they've done a killer job so far.
Guys, I'll jump in on that too. I just got here to the stadium and got a chance to look at what they're doing, and you can see it's still a little greasy on the top, but the areas where they have dug and built some piles and starting to move around, it's so good underneath that top slime. And I think with the temperatures, to your point, Zach, I think we'll have our fourth track condition when it comes to the dirt. Underneath this stuff is some really soft, good stuff that is workable, and you could just tell like what they're doing right now. I think we're going to be in for a really good one for Wednesday night. As long as the weather holds off, nothing crazy, it'll probably be the best been yet on Wednesday.
They were against the elements so far since we've been here until yesterday, and then they were against them again yesterday in a completely different manner. But I think that this rain is gonna kind of soak through all the way to the bottom, and I think it could be really, really good for us.
Yeah, I think so too. Steve Giberson, you got another one or?
Sure. I'm curious, with all the changes to schedules and procedures and everything else. I'll give it to Malcolm. Is there anything that you've seen so far that you think could carry over to the future? And what's been the weirdest part about it so far?
I mean, honestly, waking up one morning, you're supposed to be on the bike at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then next race you don't have to be at the track till like 2:30 in the afternoon. So it's different. I mean, me personally, I think that not having track walk has actually for some reason been kind of cool to me. Just doing like a little parade lap, and then because we're all we're all professional riders. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see that how quick we adapt to just literally rolling around the track for 2 laps, and then next thing you know, we're jumping the triples and finish lines and rhythm sections like it's nothing. So I like that aspect of it, but I mean, again, there's the negative part about it is, packing your own gate or roll up to the gate, doing all that stuff. But again, like it's kind of like one of those things too. It's like even when I'm sitting, rolling up to the gate and I'm trying to pick rocks out, and Cooper Webb grabbed my bike to help me out. You know what I mean? So I think it's like the mutual respect that everybody knows, like it's all kind of fitting for themselves. So it's cool to see us riders kind of help each other out. So again, it's definitely in the future. I can see some things changing, but again, there's no talent. Really, just all that matters how things really work, and we kind of go from there.
Hey, did you guys see on the line of the 450 main, Jason Anderson run to get another pair of goggles, and Vince Freese was holding his bike? I think that's a true sign that we are all bonding here on this trip to Utah, because that's something I never thought I'd see in a million years, but it happened.
Jason held his bike before the heat race, so they were they were working together.
So it's mutual. They're looking out for each other.
I'll second Malcolm's track walk comment. I hope that's gone forever.
How about just one session of practice from now on?
One session, I'm cool with. I'm totally cool with that. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody else would agree with that, but if it was just a normal day, not mutter, I think we all have been pretty pumped on how the day went, because it was pretty quick and it was cool.
I think they could definitely do away with the free practice. I mean, 2 sessions is fine. 1 session's amazing, but free practice can go anytime too with the track walk.
I'm taking notes for you guys. I'll submit those. We'll see what happens. LeBig. Nope, you good? Mitch Kendra.
My question's for Malcolm. So your heat race win the other day, and then your first main event top 5 yesterday. So how big are those for you? Not only, like you said, taking the next step in your career, getting to the top step of the podium of the main events, but with everything going on in the current world?
It's like one of those things you're just trying to take it all in at one time, but it's hard, the process. The biggest thing I'm trying to focus on is really just to get through these rounds and kind of go from there. I'm finally starting to get the ball rolling, and really it's just that's pretty much it. I mean, we're racing so much right now, and I think that's kind of like one of the things that each and every weekend I'm like learning, or every race I'm learning, what I'm slacking on or what I need to do, and honestly, like, obviously with this whole outside of the world thing, there is a lot going on for sure, and I'm getting a lot of it, getting a lot going on right now. But for me, I'm just trying to get through what I have focused in front of me is racing right now, and kind of move forward from there.
I'll say just real quick, Anton's picture he got of you coming over the checkered flag with your dad in the background, that was awesome. So I know we were all pumped to see that.
Oh yeah, no, Pops is. Like I said, it's cool. You just literally sitting on the stands, or sitting on the gate. You just look up to your left, and you can just literally pick whoever your person is out there. So, obviously, unfortunately, it does suck not having no fans, of course. And even when you make passes, you don't get the hype or whatever. But it is kind of crazy though. We're all sitting on the line, and you're kind of just it's so quiet out there, and you're just sitting there just talking to each other. Like just having a normal conversation, like. The race is about to happen. I mean, I think it was like the very first race, me, Zach, and a few others were literally talking. I was like, I literally feel like this is a practice, but we're like, no, this is a race. This is a heat race. Like we're about to go racing. So it's it's one of those experiences that I'll never forget in my entire racing career that what this happened. But I mean, like I said, there's upsides and there's downsides to it.
It's funny, you guys having good conversations. I've heard little rumblings that there's some more aggressive conversations happening on the inside of the gate at the second one. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not. No? Yeah?
I never heard anything about that one. I don't know. I might have been on the other side of the box.
There's been some less pleasant conversations going on, too. Tyler Tate.
Throw this kind of out to the whole floor, but with the schedule being all here and getting a little breaks, how do you use that time to go out and enjoy the state? This is where I'm from, and we got a lot going on, Malcolm, especially for you being an outdoorsman. Getting out and going to see a few of those scenes. Has it allowed you to mentally recharge in a faster way rather than end of race, get on a plane, get back to practice, and then fly to the next thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm staying up here in Park City. It's literally like, 25, 30 minutes from the stadium. So, and the good thing about most of the races that we had so far, they've been pretty early, except for one. And really, it's like us. It'd be like if you were living in California, in your local, like I guess they're in Empire, you're driving to Anaheim, California, you get down to the race, you drive back. So, it is cool. I was gonna go fishing this morning, but I woke up this morning, it was snowing, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna lay back in bed. But it's cool. Like honestly, I would say like the negative things about this whole COVID thing, but if I would have never knew how cool Salt Lake City was if this didn't happen. So there is an upside and downsides to it, but I will say I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about how Salt Lake City has turned out to be. I would have never thought we would be so hot the first race, and then I look outside and it's snowing. I mean, it's just insane to me. So again, it's kind of cool.
Jason Weigandt.
First question is for Broc Tickle. First of all, does it actually hurt during the race with the hand, or is it grip? What's actually the biggest issue that you're dealing with when you're out there?
So I basically broke my pointer finger metacarpal and my fifth metacarpal, which is your pinky. So you can imagine my grip strength isn't 100% by any means. And then on top of that, the conditions yesterday were tough. I mean, maybe the toughest track I've rode in dealing with what I'm dealing with. So for me, yesterday was a struggle. Like maybe the toughest main event I've ever done, to be honest. And I've been doing this for a while. So for me, I just want to make progress. By the end of this, I just want to be where I feel like I should be. Anywhere from 6 to 12. If I can be consistently there, I'll be happy. But yeah, I've been dealt with a lot of different circumstances in the last 2 years. So for me, I just want to make progress and be at every one of these last four.
And a follow-up to that, what were the emotions? I mean, you got hurt immediately in practice, basically after first coming back, like your second race, and then you get hurt immediately in practice after this break. What were the emotions when you first realized, I cannot believe this, I'm not going to be able to race for a third time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a roller coaster. I mean, I'm here still, so I still want to race. So, and I feel like I still have potential to be in the mix, and that's why I'm still here. So, goal is to make progress, get in the mix with the guys, and hopefully not have a main event like last night.
And I have one more for Malcolm, actually. Malcolm, it was such a long road. You won a 250 East title. You couldn't get a ride. You had to build your own team. You've been a fill-in guy. Then last year you're getting it together and you get hurt. What is it like to be in this moment now where it finally is coming together? Your team's solid. You have a ride. You're healthy. What is it like day to day just finally having it figured out? Because the last 4 years have been tough.
Yeah, of course, I don't want to go back to those memories. But, no, it's really just just going through the motions, honestly. Last year I got hurt right off the rip of the season. I started signing with the team, and we were all excited, and bam, second race out for the rest of the season. So for me, I just kind of, of course, just took my time and got I guess I would say got a year. I guess I would say 2 races now. I got almost a whole year under my belt, and it's starting to come. It didn't come that early, but now we're starting to get these races under our belt, and they're starting to come around. So I'm happy. I knew that I was due to a heat race win. I mean, since in 2017, I always had the speed. The fitness was lacking. It's just. But again, it's a set program, and I feel like where I'm at right now, that's where these results are coming, and I'm pretty happy about where I'm at right now.
Dan Lamb.
Yeah, Kyle, it looks like you're living in a motorhome there while you're there. Is that how you're living, and how's it been?
Yeah, it's not bad. Not far from Guy B over here. The team's up in an Airbnb, which I had the choice to go up to, and we've been doing some fishing up in Park City and whatnot, kind of like Malcolm said. It's been fun being around the city. But, yeah, me and my pops, he's wrenching for me again. So we brought the pool behind with us, and we've just been hanging out, kind of doing it like old days, back to the amateur time. Got my own food here and my bicycles, and been catching some of the trails right here and being close to the stadium. It's actually been pretty nice, having a lot of fun, kind of adding to what Malcolm said earlier, for once in all the years of my career, to be able to spend time somewhere and see things around here, do things around here has been pretty cool, and Salt Lake's a pretty cool place, so something different to do and enjoy.
Nice. And for Malcolm, in that heat race with Webb, how surprised were you that you caught him? Was it like somewhere you expected to be but never get the start? Or, in other words, were you surprised, or did it just feel comfortable as you got there and then passed him?
It just it felt comfortable with me. Again, it's all about the right timing, and usually it's a lot of, I guess I would say the last couple of years I haven't been in the right spot, or I was throw the race away or whatever. I saw Cooper, he was struggling a little bit through the whoops. That specific race, those whoops, there was like 16 whoops. So, I mean, I had a little bit of room to play with, and they were big too. So, again, the track, I guess I would say the track's been pretty easy so far. And like they just threw one big, crazy long set of whoops in there that kind of threw everything off. And I guess I would say I felt like I was one of the best guys through the whoops all night through there. And it felt good to me. Again, just to finally, win something that was my goal anyways, and I can at least check it off the list and be like, all right, fine, like that's good. But I'm at the same time sitting here mad at myself because I should have checked it off the list a long time ago. So yeah, again, it's just a moving step forward. So, and then we got our first top 5, or my best career finish. So now we're just, from here on out, we're just going to keep just keeping the ball rolling and go from there, because there's no telling what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and with being so fast on that track, what was going through your mind when you were on the ground in the first lap of the main event?
Yeah, I was like, I told myself I was on the main event. I'm like, all right, let's get a good start. Let's not hit the ground. And then next, I come around the corner. I'm looking at the ground again. I'm just like, here we go again. Like, and obviously the track was fast anyways. And I don't like taking the chances, because now I have to ride out of my comfort zone, especially even through the whoops, the whole 9 yards just to catch back up. So by the time I got back up, I mean, Eli and those guys, they're already in the other rhythm section. I'm like, well, I'm not going to win this race, So, again, it's like one of those thoughts that you just sitting there, you're just like, man, like you think back to it, you laugh about it, but in the moment, you just put your head down. And sometimes too, and I'll speak for this for all the riders, like sometimes like when you do hit the ground, like you like loosen up. It's like all that's gone, and then next you know you're going 10 times faster than what you normally would if you were up front. So it's a normal thing, and who's to say? I mean, I don't know if I would have got to start and I would have finished in the same position or where I was, or if me crashing the first turn did that help. So I would never know. The only thing I can do is just say, let's not hit the ground no more.
Yeah, good ride though, all the way back to 7th that night.
Yeah, thanks.
Alex, I'm going to come to you next, but I want to jump in really quick. Martine, just for this whole rookie year that you're in right now, what's been the biggest thing you've learned about this class, the bike, the competition? I mean, just if you were to put everything all into one, in a priority list, I guess, what would be the first thing that you recognize as something that you've learned so far in your 450 rookie year?
Well, the only thing is I could tell you is that I'm not racing, rookies. I'm not racing, kids. I'm racing real men and champions. It's unbelievable the talent and the speed these guys have. I mean, and it's just one of those things that I think everybody's so close, to get in. I think the top 5 speed is close. I mean, to get into the top 3 is. Those guys are just pushing really hard, but without getting a start, the talent's so deep. It's hard to come through, and that's one of the things that I've learned. If you don't get a start, if you don't give yourself a chance to at least for me as a first time in the 450 to learn the pace that's happening, in the top 5, it's impossible because sometimes I've gotten caught up in 14th or 13th, and you're 14th, 13th, 15th place. They're going fast, and it's hard to pass, and sometimes you just gotta swallow and take it, and you rode a good race. But lately here I've gotten a little better starts. I'm a little more comfortable just learning that top 10 speed. Up front for a little bit. I mean, obviously, Kenny checked out that one race, but it felt good, and I think just trying to get my feet wet and learning off this guys a little bit.
Alex.
Yeah, this one's for Kyle. We've seen you in the main event consistently in Salt Lake. I think you were 14th at SLC 1. So for you in your position, what are you satisfied with in terms of results when you are, each main event? What's the goal for you?
I mean, I think for me, there were a lot of races at the beginning of the season where I made mistakes in the LCQs or crashed in the LCQs and kept myself out of a bunch of the main events. And, like Marty said, the company that is in that main event and the people that, I'm racing with, there's a lot of competition there. But, had it not been, for the virus, like I said earlier, and everything that's going on in the world right now, I wouldn't have been back even racing for the end of the season. So I think a little bit of me is just, thankful to even be here racing because I thought my Supercross season was kind of to an end. I don't think it's so much based on results for me. Obviously, I want to go out and better that 14th and get in that mix. And I've been doing some things good, but I've been doing some things really bad too. And I think that comes from, I think we were off, 12, 14 weeks or so, if not more. And I only rode 6 days, 2 days Supercross before I even came up here the week before. So for me, I'm kind of riding myself back into shape. Last night was tough, but I think like Broc was saying with progress, I just want to go out and get the best starts that I can, kind of put it in the mix and just try and keep getting better every race day. With the 2 races a week, I'm not practicing right now. So just trying to stay in shape and stay sharp on the race side of things and have fun with it at the same time. That's the most important thing. I'm happy about is just being thankful and being able to be here and be in the company that I'm in those main events and try and get in that mix and battle a little more every week.
3 more questions, guys. We'll go Ralph, Mitch Kendra, and Jason Weigandt. You can close us out. Ralph?
Thanks, Daniel. Malcolm, one more for you. I know I don't mean this to come the wrong way, but I loved it when your brother would crash and he'd go to the back of the field because I knew what he was about to do was going to be spectacular watching him come back through the field, which he usually did. And a lot of the times would win from dead last. It was always amazing to watch. So here you are saying that you hated it, when you fall down and then you got to work your way through. Your brother was such an expert at making those passes in those types of situations. Have you talked with him at all about that? Has he given you any insight? Did you learn the trick to how he pulled that off?
No, that was an animal. What he did. I mean, that's not usually one of the conversations that you would normally talk to. Was like, hey, let's finish the first turn and loosen up a little bit. But no, I mean, it's a natural reaction from any rider. It's like that, dude. I have to go because at this moment you're already in the back of the pack. You got nothing to lose anyway. So it's like that's the mindset that you ride with, and you just go from there. Of course, I mean, what James did, I mean, was something I would just never see. I mean, from jumping the wall at Daytona, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, we share the last name, but I promise you this, I would never do something like that. So, again, that's it's some of the things he's done. I was like, that's amazing. And, again, I just, every time I hit the ground or whatever, it's just like, you just got to go. You have to go. And we end up, like I said, finishing, got dead last came in the corner dead last and seventh. So I had a couple races like that this year. So hopefully that's it. I don't have to worry about that no more. I don't have to take those chances anymore, and let's just go from there.
I'm going to add one more question to this group here. Tyler Tate, go ahead before we get to Mitch and Weigandt.
I'm curious to follow up a little bit on Ralph and kind of what you said, Malcolm, in terms of being in position that you're not leading in the front, but you still want to make that pass. How do you balance the risk of being aggressive to make a pass, especially in those conditions, and not be in a position to where you're in the way if the lead rider does come up on you?
I mean, it's tough out there, man. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, there's nothing worse when you're trying to pass a rider in the corner and you go lower than him, and then another rider just comes in and T-bones you. I mean, it's part of racing, and you're literally trying to have a strategy, but your main goal is literally just to try to pass that guy, and it really really comes down to, especially if you're a lot rider and you're battling a guy that's in front of you, and then you got the blue flag right behind you, and you're trying to move out of the way, but you don't want to let that rider, the rider that you're trying to pass, go too. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, in racing, it's not just pass the guy and go. There's a lot of strategy that goes behind it because of again, you could literally pass this rider but lose 2 seconds on the next rider because what the move that you made on him. So. It's part of racing, I guess I would say.
Mitch?
This one's for Kyle and then Broc if you want to chime in too. I don't know about your practice situation, but Kyle, do you feel like with the races, like you're not able to practice, are you bored, or is it the races are coming so quickly? Like if it was a normal schedule, you'd be kind of bored, but the race is happening so quickly, is it kind of like, right when you catch your breath and the next race is coming, or is it kind of like, hey, what are you doing to pass the time? Are you like, come on, but is this like a quick schedule kind of fixing that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously if we were racing just on Saturdays and there was no practice going on, it would be a little different in that sense. And I mean, even right now, last week, I felt like I could have went and raced on Friday, but body soreness wise, getting back on the motorcycle after not really being on it, it's probably the best thing, honestly. 2 races during the week definitely is better than just one for being able to kind of stay race sharp. So, I mean, like I said, in the meantime, sorry, I think my camera messed up. In the meantime, being able to get on the bicycle, which I was doing a lot of before I got back on the motorcycle, has been nice. So I'm just trying to do the things I do at home and be ready for each race and just kind of take it as it comes. I think the 14th and the 15th, the first 2 rounds were, I don't know if maybe there's just a little less of an expectation at the beginning of the year. I was really trying to put myself in that position and making a lot of mistakes. So, like I said, I'm not too stressed on it. 7 rounds in 3 weeks, and I'm going to enjoy Salt Lake and enjoy riding my motorcycle and just try and be the best I can be every week.
Last one for Jason Weigandt.
Yeah, thanks. This is for Zacho. Zach, as soon as you got on a 450, before last season, we heard you were going fast, you were good in off-season races, but it's taken a season and a half almost to really see that on the track. And with Adam Cianciarulo, we see it with a lot of rookies. He's dealing with that right now. What is the difference between just going fast on the bike and actually racing it well when it counts on what would normally be Saturday, but now Sunday and Wednesday?
The biggest thing is just adapting to the track and adapting the bike during the day. That's something that I was never it's not that I wasn't good at it, but it was something that I never did in the lights class because I was just so comfortable with the package that I had. But with the 450, for me, the biggest thing has been just kind of adapting, changing. I rode the same setting for basically the last 3 years of my lights career. So now I've made 3 changes since we've been here in Salt Lake. So it's just kind of adapting the bike more and being more attentive to that sort of thing, as well as, just taming it down a little bit. This thing bites hard, and things that you would normally really save pretty easily on the 250 turns into a big fiasco on the 450. So it's knowing when to go and when to fold, and that's something that I've learned kind of the hard way. But at the same time, finally, it's starting to pay off, I guess.
Right on, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And, guys, thanks for taking the time today to do this. And I look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. And, again, I think we're in for a good one. The dirt's going to be good. It's got a good layout. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the track on Wednesday. Thank you.
That Daniel Blair guy hogging up all the spotlight in the press conference. Unbelievable, these guys. So thanks to those riders for giving us an hour of time, and thanks to you for listening. We got more racing coming up Wednesday night, so hopefully you were able to intake all this and use it as you, pick your fantasy teams or just prepare to watch more racing twice a week. This is like Christmas coming every 3 days right now. This is spectacular. I think the riders really like it, and you can get that vibe from this press conference. Thanks to Yoshimura, our sponsor, of course, of the Exhaust Podcast. Go to yoshimura-rd.com and yoshimuracycling.com to associate yourself with them, with their products. And also, of course, racerxonline.com/Weege. That's how you subscribe and help us out, too. That's it. Back to work. Thanks, everybody.